With Talya. This evening, I have a very special guest here with me, Natalie Tenenbaum. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. This is so lovely.
Welcome to my show. This is so nice to have
Yay!
you here.
So
Um,
excited. Thank you so much for thinking of me and
of course,
having me on your show. It's a great privilege. Thank you.
it's a privilege for me. And honestly, you are so incredibly talented. And I've loved every collaboration I've ever had with you through the years.
No, I miss
And
it.
I miss it so much. Natalie, for those of you who don't know who she is an amazing pianist, composer, singer, songwriter. She and I went to Juilliard together, and that's how we first bonded and formed a really close friendship through the years. So we have a lot of memories together, and I'm so happy that she's here tonight, and I would love for you all to get to know her a little bit more. She's wonderful.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so in awe of you and everything that you do on the show. And I miss making music with you. So this is the next best thing we can have right
Yeah.
now at this COVID time. But
Yes,
thank you.
our virtual show,
Yeah,
our podcast, so to speak.
so
Um,
cool.
Yeah, so let's just get to know you a little bit. I want to ask you some questions that I don't even know myself. I know you pretty well, but there are things I don't know about you. So
Let's do it.
let's start with, at what age did you start playing the piano?
Good one. I actually started at a very young age. I started at the age of 6. My mom used to play piano. Used to, she still does. And I would listen to her, and then right after she was done practicing, I would walk up to the piano and try to play what she was playing. So I think, she caught on that I was interested, and she started teaching me, for which I'm forever grateful. And that's how it started.
And your brother's also a musician, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. He plays bass. He also used to play piano, but he's a professional bass player. Went to Juilliard, still plays, but he also does computer science, which is
Oh wow,
another thing he's doing professionally now.
that's
So
great. Is he living in the city still, or is?
yeah, he lives like just about 13 blocks away from me. So
Aw,
yeah,
that's nice.
nice for us. It's less nice for our parents in Israel, so far away, especially during this
Right.
year. But it's nice to have him so close to me for sure.
So nice. Say
Yeah.
hi to him for me. Hi, David, if you're watching.
Hi, David.
So, when you were a kid, what were your musical influences? Who were they as a child growing up in Israel near Tel Aviv?
Mm. So, my parents always listened to, Israeli classics, as far as pop music and folk music from Israel. But on top of that, as a pianist, I came up in classical music, so a lot of classical music throughout my childhood. Jazz music was a big thing. My parents loved to listen to that as well. Musical theater, film scores, really classic film scores. My mom loves to listen to that. Just basically, any type of music that they could get their hands on and that they
Mhm.
loved listening to that was good. And to this day, I feel like I kind of remain in the same realm: classical music, jazz music, pop, Broadway.
Yeah,
You know,
nice. Nice.
yeah.
Um, and when did you first decide that you wanted to go into music professionally?
I think, it was super fun, and I never thought of it as like a professional thing as a child. I wasn't like one of those kind of like child prodigies or anything. That was not my story. Like, I was just enjoying it and doing it for fun until it was time to really figure out high school. And I really wanted to go to this arts high school that required, an audition process and all that kind of thing. So I think that's when I kind of started taking it more seriously. And then obviously throughout those 4 years of high school, I got to really kind of live with these kids and all across the different, you know, disciplines of dance and music and the arts and visual arts, and kind of saw how everybody was becoming more and more serious as far as like that's what they want to do in their life. And a lot of these kids you got to meet at Juilliard, a lot of them went to Juilliard. I mean, it was
Yeah.
kind of funny to me.
I
Thinking
think
of
a
it
whole
now,
bunch of you.
now being a grown up and looking back in this little high school that we weren't even in a building. It was like these little, it was like almost like a trailer park, like a few trailers, in the middle of Israel, in the middle of nowhere. And
Oh, wow.
then so many kids from there ended up being professionals and being here in New York and going to Juilliard. And
Must have been a
not
great
that that
school.
means that you're a professional, but like it's still, it's an accomplishment. So
Well, they must have had really good training and teachers there for,
unreal.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And when did you decide that you wanted to move to the US to study music? And how did you choose Juilliard? Was that as a high
Yeah,
school?
no, great question. So when I was at the high school, I actually was kind of in both programs. I was in the jazz program initially.
Mhm.
And I remember they were telling us that somebody from Berkeley was going to come and do auditions in Israel to see who could come and like do this summer program that they offer and ultimately go to school there. Berkeley is a school of music in Boston. So I was like, oh, that would be so fun. And I auditioned for that. And that resulted in me getting a scholarship to go study there every summer, basically throughout high school. And then I got a scholarship to go there for school, like full time for the 4 years, which I was interested in doing. I was interested in going and studying jazz and film scoring at Berkeley.
Wow.
So that was already all set up for me. But last minute, I think I kind of had like a realization that I do feel very passionately about classical music as well. And it's something that if I don't pursue at this kind of juncture, and it's this time in life when I'm still young and have that capacity, then I won't do it later on. So I kind of
Right.
backed away from the decision to go to Berkeley and took some time and auditioned to all these classical music schools in New York, which included Juilliard, Manhattan School of Music, Mannes Conservatory, and a couple of other schools.
I can imagine that must have been a hard decision to like what path should I go? Jazz, classical.
Yeah,
And then the
it
fact that
was
you
at the
were so
time.
good at both of them, and
I mean, it was definitely a choice, and it's one of those moments that we look back and you think about and you're like, I could have taken this path. I took this path. It's like that Gwyneth Paltrow movie
right.
we chatted about. So it's definitely a choice that was made that had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ramifications, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm glad with the choice I made. I think it was good to solidify the technique and the
Right.
discipline and learn all this repertoire that is just kind of like living with me now as I go on and compose and do all these other things that I'm interested in doing. So
So overall, you had a good positive experience at Juilliard, or was there any negative experience there?
I would say that was positive. Again, I think, for somebody who really, I was, my degree, I think it's hanging like right there. My,
Yeah.
this is a closet. My degree,
Love
proud of
it.
it. My degree is in classical piano performance, and I think for somebody who wants to be a classical piano performer, it's an amazing framework. I mean, you go there and you learn everything that you need, and you're given all the opportunities to perform and compete and do all these things, and it's great. But for me, ultimately, I kind of, as we'll discuss, I was interested in other things and I wanted to be creative. So I don't know that for me, perhaps, who's to say if it was the best that there could have been or would have been or should have been. We can't turn back time, but
Yes.
I think ultimately there were a lot of positives and good things that I took away from it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say that was like the most creative 4 years of my life, but that
That's
said, I think maybe it was good to kind of have that
solid.
discipline and technique and
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah. And you
So
got to meet a lot of other creative people there. And
yeah, and I got to meet you. So hello.
yeah, that was
Amazing.
one of the perks, right?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I got to meet amazing people, talented people all across the discipline. We had dance and acting and really fantastic people that I got to meet there. So very grateful.
I'm grateful you went there.
Yeah, I'm grateful I got to meet you.
So I was thinking about this question. So what was your dream back while you were a student there, and what did you see yourself kind of doing 15 years later? Now that we're about 15 years later in the future,
It's
do
crazy to
you think you
me.
would be doing what you're doing now, or did you? I mean, no one would know that we were in a pandemic now, but
Yeah, well, that's certainly, yeah. no, who knew that this would happen for the performing arts specifically, but for everyone. Um, yeah, no, I had no idea that I would end up working with, doing a Broadway show and doing all the stuff that I did with video game. I mean, I didn't think of it. I had no idea that this was going to be my life, but I think one thing kind of led to the next, and I knew that I wanted to be creative, and I started writing and devoting more of myself to that. I started pursuing a master's degree in composition right after school, and I got into composing. I did the BMI workshop, which, if people know what that is or not, it's a musical theater workshop where composers like Alan Menken and all these various musical theater and film composers hone their craft for writing. And I ended up attending that and creating several musicals and getting into that scene, which led to me working on Broadway. But I had no idea that was going to happen when I was a student at Juilliard. No idea.
No idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was always a dream of yours to do something on Broadway and to be involved with Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, I idolized. I mean, I did the first show I ever did was Guys and Dolls. It was while I was in high school in Israel. It was in Hebrew, and our mutual friend Oran Eldor actually orchestrated that, and I was the musical director. And I think we were like 15, 16, and we were both like, one day we're going to work on Broadway.
I love it.
But we didn't know it was actually going to happen. You just kind of like,
you put it out there.
And ultimately, sure enough, we both ended up working on Broadway. He worked on Fiddler and I worked on Mean Girls up until the shutdown. So very cool.
Cool. How was that experience? Did you enjoy?
Yeah, I really did. It was very cool because I got to work with Tina Fey and her husband, Jeff Richmond, from the very early days of the show being written. So, there was a movie, but there was no script for the musical at all. And it's a very different thing. People think it's like the same thing. You just take the script and here's a musical, but that's not the case. It takes a lot of adaptation, and the lyricist, Nell Benjamin. I got to really work with the three of them and the director, Casey Nicola, like just with the four of them in a room.
Oh, cool.
Like watching them put that thing together. It was one of the cooler experiences I've had. And then to see it become like a full blown, musical that people are in line for on Broadway. I mean, it's just
so crazy.
Next level. Yeah. So cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about some other projects, some of your other favorite projects you've been involved in over the years.
That's a great question. I feel like I've done a kind of across the board, very, very different things. And I think, I think I mentioned this to you earlier, I have a bit of ADHD or ADD or whatever it's called nowadays, where I get very, very bored very quickly. So I feel like, I thrive when I get to structure my days and my schedule and my musical life in a way that involves different genres and different types of projects. So I've done video game music, like original video game music, for Rockstar Games, which I don't know if you're familiar. I wasn't. I'm not a kid who used to play video games.
Yeah, no, I'm not in that world. Maybe I will be in like, I don't know how many years when my son is older.
Yeah, maybe you guys will play some video games together because
it'll be music that you've written for it.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I did not expect to get into that world, but I definitely that was one of my favorite things that I've done in the last couple of years was I actually got to play a character in the game. Like they put me in all motion caption outfit, and their studio is actually in Long Island. And I went in there, it was like a huge warehouse. It felt like Tom Cruise and like Mission Impossible or something. It's like all dressed up with the and like playing the piano. They motion captioned, but original music and arrangements that I've created for them. Which was super cool. And then I've gotten to create an original web series, which I could show you guys a trailer to that in a bit, where I didn't, just doing the music was too boring. I decided to act in it as well.
Amazing.
Why not? Who knows if it's good or bad acting? Doesn't matter. Just
talent do you have?
No, I'm joking. It was really cool because for that we ended up. It was me and one of my co-writers at the BMI Advanced Workshop, but we engaged this director who was amazing, who actually I met through Tina Fey. Nick Bernardone. He actually was one of the directors and producers of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and 30 Rock, and he now works on The Walking Dead on AMC. So he's very, very, very talented guy, and he directed our web series. We're very lucky. So I got to do that and score that whole thing, which is kind of like my foray into film scoring, which I've been doing more of. And I did.
Wait,
I've been
when did
playing.
it take off, by the way?
Sorry, what was that?
When do you think the web series is gonna get out
So we're
there?
releasing the first episode from the web series on the 31st. So the
Like
web series is called The Worst
31st
People You
of
Know. Yeah, in a week, about a week.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
And I'm excited. So I'll definitely follow up with like some links that maybe we can post on the site or something. But yeah, so it's definitely been one of the exciting projects that I've been working on. I'm excited to release. Working on original music, writing, singing, producing. I've gotten into recently. Before the shutdown, there was a big band that I used to play with a lot that toured and was kind of like more like of a jazz project that my friend Charlie Rosen, who was a Tony nominee this year, just casual, casual Tony nomination,
Tony nominee, you know.
casual. Yeah, so it's a project that he put together that I love playing. That kind of got me back into my jazz roots a little bit. We were doing a lot of concerts and we had a lot more scheduled, but then little COVID came around.
Little COVID. Not so little.
Yeah.
Monster COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's been interesting. It's been interesting up until COVID and even throughout is what I'm grateful for, because I really thought like everything was going to shut down, and it was very dark for the first few months, just kind of trying to figure out where we stand and what we're doing. But I'm grateful that like,
I'm sure that was not a relaxing, like the germaphobe that you are, that I know you are.
oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. It's next level. I mean, I still Clorox all my groceries.
I do too.
You do too? I thought we're the only two people who are still doing it.
Stop doing it. Like, there's no point in doing it. But I've heard from so many people, like, why do you still do that? I'm like,
Yeah.
because.
No, even the people that I know who are the most germaphobe are like, why are you still doing that? Like,
I think my germaphobe.
soulmates, sisters. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be okay. We're going to come out of it. We're going to come out of it stronger.
Yes. It sounds like you've been so productive during this time, which is.
I mean, there's ups and downs, but I feel like at first it was just kind of a blow. Everything, I had so many concerts that were planned and tours, and Broadway was like 8 times a week, went into 0 times a week for God knows how long. After working, it took like 10 years to get that chair basically. And then all of a sudden it's shut down, It was definitely a blow and a low point, but then I feel like trying to, in a way, I was relying on certain things that involve live performance a lot, when I knew that I also wanted to have this other aspect of my career, which involves recording and composing, but that kind of took a back seat, and I never had enough time to do that. So obviously, the pandemic is a tragedy. It's horrible. I wish there was a way that we could erase that whole chapter from humanity, but the fact that I got to spend a lot more time, finalizing these projects and focusing on arranging and producing and recording and trying to get out and network and show what I've been doing to more people, I think it's ultimately a good thing. So
good. The silver lining that we all have to focus on, right? All the good things that are coming out.
Hopefully. Yeah.
So I think having a pause like this is just like a wake up call, right?
It's kind of like a rude awakening in a way, because I never realized how much of my schedule and livelihood and everything kind of depended on these like live opportunity, if it's Broadway or concerts or recording sessions that happen in person, performances with this ensemble, this artist, music directing, conducting, like it's all in person, it's all live. Right. So all of a sudden having to kind of figure out like, oh, is there, obviously there was interest for me in doing other things that are kind of more, I guess, creative, Not that performing isn't creative, but as far as like recording and composing and
The back,
scoring and
yeah, behind the scenes more.
right. Yeah. So I think there's like different skill sets that I feel like I've always wanted to kind of like develop further that like and I've never devoted the time. And now that I have, I feel like if
Yeah.
there's, we always try to look at the positive. So this is the one positive I feel like I can look at throughout this year of 2020.
Well, I'm excited to see what all the work you've been doing during this time is going, what we're going to see from it. So I'm sure
Yeah.
great
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm excited to start sharing some stuff. I'm gonna, the web series is gonna come out on the last day of the worst year ever, which is 2020, and the show is called The Worst People You Know, so that's very appropriate. It's
So
a very
how fitting.
appropriate farewell to the worst year.
Yes. Oh, I will not miss that. I can't
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. It's a comedy,
wait.
little lightness in our life. I feel like it's gonna be good.
You have to write those
Um,
down for people to like, look into those, to try to find it, Just right, and maybe in the chat where people could.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and on top of that, I'm gonna start releasing a couple of EPs that I've recorded of original music, um, in 2021.
I love
So
that you're
I'm
singing
super excited.
and love that you're singing and playing. I love that you're singing
Yeah,
and playing. So, Natalie, you've always been like one of my most favorite pianists, probably if my most favorite pianist. Like I just like
favorite singer.
I adore you.
Oh my God, I adore you. I wish there was no delay on Zoom because we could like
We
just
could be jamming.
sing and play right now together. But I feel like the delay is just like
No.
for the next pandemic, they'll figure it out.
Exactly. I know everybody who's watching from the temple, at least, who remembers you. And I told people about you coming on to this show, and they're so excited. I mean, like, I'm sure people are just tuning in. And
Well, I miss you guys, and I hope that once this is all over, I can come visit and see
yeah,
you soon,
oh, I
sooner
miss
than
you so
later.
much.
So hope everybody's doing well and staying healthy during this crazy time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I want to get back a little bit to something that I read in your bio earlier about the NBC show you were in, Maya, and
Oh, Maya Marty.
Maya and
Yeah.
Marty. You were the
Yeah,
house
that was super
pianist in that.
fun.
How amazing! You were on
Yeah.
the production.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was back in 2016, and they were looking for a band, like a house band, to play all the sketches and all the songs in this show that was kind of like SNL, but actually had more music in it.
Mhm.
And I had a lot of the SNL people, Maya Rudolph and Martin Short, and through I got to meet all these amazing comedians, like iconic comedians, like Steve Martin. We got to play with and perform with and hang out with, and Jerry Seinfeld came, and Larry David, and all these different pop art. I mean, Miley Cyrus was like right here. We did a song with like all these different artists that like are, A-list celebrities. Tina Fey, obviously, which led to me. I met her on that. I met her and Jeff. Jeff was the music supervisor on that show. Jeff
Wow.
is her husband, who's the composer of Mean Girls. So it's through that experience that I ended up on Mean Girls.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was about 3-4 months of putting it together in between the rehearsals and building the show and then filming it, and it was pretty amazing. Definitely
Fun.
memorable for all of us in the band. Yeah.
Cool. Um, so I know like favorite questions are hard, but I want to know if you have a favorite composer, like out of all the styles that you've studied and play, do you have one favorite composer or favorite music that you love performing? Like if you could perform one piece every night, what would it be? Like
Wow.
what's your favorite showpiece or
Wow.
is it
That's a hard question. That's a great question. And I wish I had the answer, but I feel like, no, I feel that's such a great question. I feel like it's hard to say because especially for me having like I said, musical ADHD, or I'm interested in so many different genres and I do so many different things. It's hard to say. I definitely have like a few favorites in every genre that I could point out, like that I love, like obviously Bach and Mozart and all the classical music. I could go for days just with that, but it's hard for me to commit to just like one
Mm-hmm.
favorite. And I also go through phases. I find that like every few months I kind of focus and study a different aspect of music. Like right now I'm very interested in gospel music, so I'm just like in gospel music, like
Well,
very, very deeply. Yeah. So it's just kind of, but I'm sure in a year I'm going to be on to a different genre. So yeah,
Cool.
it's that very various. I wish I had like a more
Yeah.
permanent answer to that, but it
That's
always
a good
changes.
answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. I know that we've been talking, and I feel like I want our listeners to experience you. And I know it's hard to do it live right now, but maybe you have a recording or something, or if
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
want to share of the different things we've been talking about. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Here, let me do a little screen share so I can show you my setup. I'm because of Zoom and delay and technical difficulty and angles and stuff. I don't know how well it will go live, but I can show you some clips of stuff that I've been sharing recently. Let's see. All right, can you see my screen if I show you this?
Yes, I can.
Great. So one thing that I've kind of enjoyed doing during quarantine is taking all the classical repertoire that I used to practice for many, many hours every day and spicing it up a little bit. And I was always kind of nervous to do that because I felt like, how is that going to go over with the classical, Juilliard school vibe slash worlds?
Right.
I used to practice this for hours.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So
Yay.
honestly, I posted that. Before I clicked the post button, I was just, it's hard to share ourselves in general, but then doing something like this, which is like it's kind of like
So
what's the
creative.
word?
It's so great.
I'm thinking of it, sacrilegious. Is that a word?
You feel like you're not, yeah, you're not
Yeah.
honoring the composer who is making
Right. Like
these
doing that to
great bands.
Chopin. I mean, I was just kind of like, how is that? And I have all these Juilliard friends who are my friends on the platform. So I was like, how, oh my God, they're gonna think I'm a horrible human being.
Chopin would have said to you.
But shockingly, and this is another lesson of 2020, the worst year ever. Shockingly, this actually led to one of the more prominent slash perhaps most prominent classical piano artists. Not going to name names because it's still in the deal is being worked out, but they hired me as a result of this to arrange for their Universal Music Group record. This is a classical, purely classical artist.
I love that. And it got a lot of hits. Like,
Yeah.
it went out there. That went
Yeah,
viral.
I got all these different like Chopin. There's like a Chopin Instagram. They shared it.
So
So funny to me. To me, it's funny because I was so hesitant to post it.
it's such a great idea. It was such a like
Yeah.
I mean, I
It
love
was, and so that's like a positive thing to being bored in quarantine, I guess. I did another one of them here if you're interested in hearing it. I'll just give you a second. That was the first one.
that.
Even
That.
sunglasses.
I love it. Hilarious.
Sunglasses.
Edit.
Hey.
Never ever thought of doing
Anyway, so I just wanted to practice some classical music, and instead of putting a metronome on, which is kind of boring, like tick tock.
Tick. Yeah.
Aside did this, but I also, I want to see what else is interesting. This is like another thing that I revisited, which is a jazz transcription. favorite part. Wait for it. Oh, not yet. It's coming. So what's cool about Instagram is that like I tagged Oscar Peterson and they posted it on his page.
No way.
Yeah, it's so crazy. We live in an era with TikTok and everything where it's just like I think I underestimated the power of social media and just kind of like putting content on social media because it had a way further reach than I thought it would.
Especially now during this time, I mean, everything is online and
Yeah.
the way we are communicating these days more. So amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
So, just kind of like, I'll post the link to my Instagram. I'm not gonna like show every video, but I've been having fun sharing. This was in the beginning of the pandemic. This is a piece I used to practice at Juilliard too, but and I haven't since Juilliard, which was like you said, 15 years ago of not practicing it. And I was like, oh, I wonder how it's gonna go if I tried it on with, the gloves that I wear everywhere now and the Clorox wipes and here.
I think this is so cool. I call this practice.
No, Instagram limits your. Sorry, I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Tal?
Instagram what?
Instagram limits you to under a minute, but I played the entire piece with gloves on, which I don't.
Is that hard with gloves to play that piece? Because that's kind of a crazy hard piece. Like
I went for it. I went for it. It was early days of the pandemic. We were all kind of like out of our minds. I went for it.
amazing. Anybody could go for it. You could. You got this reputation when you played at my temple. You were called like the wizard by a few people. Like you were known as like the wizard on the keys. Like you
Oh my
just
God, I love that.
wizard. Like I'm still asked like what's the wizard up to these days?
Oh, I love that.
Like,
Oh,
you're just crazy. You're
so
amazing.
sweet. That's so sweet. I always had a blast playing all those songs with you, the Adonalam and everything.
Your sleep, I think. You just
So good.
yeah.
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah. But
Wow.
that's some photos of what we were doing before. I think this is like the line of like before the pandemic. So it's like,
Okay.
oh yeah, there were recording sessions with like Billy Crystal and
Without a mask on.
concerts in
Yeah.
California that I got to travel and do like the coolest events. I just hope that these things return
You
at
will
the end
get
of
back
the day.
there. You will.
Yeah, I hope so. There's a magic to sharing music with audiences that just
Yeah.
as fun as streaming and social media and all those things are, and they are, and it's a great way to reach people that like obviously not everybody's going to attend every concert you ever do. It's great that you're able to share it, but
Nothing like
something to that like immediacy of like a live performance that I feel like hopefully people will go back to appreciating after all this.
know. Me too. I hope so too. I know some people really enjoy having Shabbat services in their pajamas and wine glasses.
Oh, that's enjoyable. I attended a bat mitzvah the other day.
Not a performance, but that's a service.
Well, a bar and bat mitzvah the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, from home, just not having to drive out, just wake up and zoom it up.
There's nothing like live theater. There's nothing like live performing and the magic in the air and the excitement that you feel sitting there watching and then being on stage and playing and singing and
yeah.
it will come back it will come back. It's not gone.
I know. I feel like some people have said that it's going to come back like more so than ever, almost like the Roaring '20s after the Great Depression, or
I hope so. I hope
like people are really going to miss it and they're going to go out and celebrate when we're able to. So
we got to lift the artist's soul, the spirit of the arts world.
yeah, 100%.
So this was fun. Thank you so much for sharing. And those who are tuning in, please follow Natalie if you want to enjoy some more.
Absolutely. Do you want to see the trailer to the show real quick?
Oh, we do. Yes.
Okay.
Before we
Here, I'll
go.
leave you with this. It's a short one. I think it's also like 50 seconds. Just telling you.
We are real New Yorkers.
30s really are the new 20s.
This is all we've ever wanted.
New York is like this mythical land.
It's like what Celine Dion always says. What do you say to taking chances? This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Poop Poop's in a club.
It's obviously very different than classical music. It's more of like a SNL meets, Lonely Island,
Oh, wow.
Funny or Die type, comedy stuff.
Can't
So
wait. It looks hilarious. Looks fun.
yeah, it's a fun one. It's gonna be funny.
Acting skills? What did you do? Did you take some acting classes at Juilliard? I mean, come on. Like, where
I actually did. I take not at Juilliard, but I've always been interested in taking some acting, and I did at the William Esper School last year. Not last year, 2 years ago at this
there you
point.
go. You did a little bit of training. That's
Yeah, I did a little bit of a training
it's just natural.
program, not the complete program. The complete program is like 2 or 3 years. I didn't do that one, but the shorter one. And it was fun. Actually, it was actually helpful to my music stuff as well. I feel like
Wow.
getting to kind of do other things is always interesting as an artist. So I'm grateful I got to do that.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah.
December 31st. All
Yeah,
right.
guys.
So I have one more question for you before we have to say goodnight.
Yes.
And that is, what are your current dreams and aspirations for yourself? What do you want to do once, like, is there anything that you really want to do still that you haven't done yet?
It's a great question. I feel like, every day I kind of revisit it in a way because it's something that's always changing. And one of my biggest dreams was getting to be a creative and write arrangements for a hit Broadway show. And it's like, okay, done. Or like going to Juilliard was like, for you, I'm sure too. Like it was like our dream when we were children, we were growing up. So it's like when you get to, check certain goals that you've had, I feel like it's constantly changing as far as like the future and what you envision for yourself. But I think as far as dreams, I feel like if I could choose the projects that I want to work on and only work on things that I'm 100% about, no matter what the genre or what kind of project it is, and feel, equally excited about all these projects and creating and releasing as much music as I can, that would make me happy. I've realized it's less about the fame and fortune or the amount of followers or all those things that it's kind of easy to get caught up in. It's kind of just about feeling fulfilled in the projects that you actually do work on and create. So that's, which I feel like I'm kind of there now. So that's a good thing.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm curious. I know you're the interviewer, so I don't know if I'm allowed to turn the question to you too, because I would love to hear what yours are.
Well, that's a good question. You're putting me on the spot. My dreams. Well, I'm a mommy, so that's been like a dream. That's a check. I've always wanted to be a mom.
Biggest check of life. So yeah,
they bring me a lot of joy, and so I put a lot of energy and time and focus into them, especially because they're homeschooled. So I really want to see them flourish. I know it's not my dream, but it's my dream for them is that they flourish and they grow.
100%.
And so that's. A lot of my focus has been going into being a mama, but also my synagogue job and being a cantor and loving that still, even virtually. I've been still connecting, being able to connect with people this way and share music and inspire people and lift people's spirits and help, people just find connection, in times when things are really hard. And also, I'm starting to dabble in the songwriting world, and I have released one, and I'm going to be releasing another song, and I have a lot of original songs that I want to get out there. So songwriting is actually a big dream for me to do more of that and get an EP out there eventually.
Yeah.
EP and kind of dabble in that world, and then one day when the stage becomes open to everyone
Again, right?
I'd love to be back on stage singing and doing other things also alongside my curatorial job, to be doing more performing and either my original stuff or stuff that I love to sing, like cabaret and Broadway, gospel,
Beautiful.
blues.
Amazing. Well, you're the best voice
Aw, coming
in the
from you,
world.
saying that's
No, 100%. I mean,
I
it's
love your voice,
unmatched.
though.
A voice that's unmatched. So I'm excited to hopefully get to share the stage with you again sooner than later, once this whole thing is behind us.
Yes, I hope that happens. To do more collaboration with you would be in my dream.
Let's do it, girl. We're going to.
Let's do it.
It's gonna happen.
Yes, yes. So I'm
There's
so
lots
glad to hear you're doing so well and that you're thriving and creating. And I just love that you're so creative. I love that you're ADD, because it's like you do so many different
time
things.
to love it. It took me time to love it. At first I was like, oh no, it's kind of like I'm not good at anything. I'm trying to do too many different things. What's gonna happen with me and this and that. But then it's
Everything you set your mind to, it seems you just excel, and it's exciting to see what comes out of you.
I think it's just, I don't know. I always feel so much fear trying out new things. I feel like it's just human nature. You feel afraid when you don't know,
Right.
but just have to do it anyway. I think is what the lesson
Such a good message to
learned.
tell everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, just even if you don't know how to
afraid,
play a certain style or whatever, just take that. I said yes to everything. If it was like, oh, can you come play at the Spanish synagogue? Literally, that happened. It was only Spanish. I had no idea what they were saying. They literally looked at me and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any type of thing, just even if you have no idea what's going on, just say yes, because
Totally.
can you
I'm even
produce
like
this?
that with cooking. Like I was always like, I'm never gonna be a good cook. And then
Oh, you're an amazing cook. You're always an amazing cook.
listen, I had this period of time where I focused on being like a housemaker and cooking and cleaning, and I feel like I could say now that I think I'm a good cook.
You were always a good cook.
Good baker too. But no,
It doesn't surprise me at all. I feel like you were always.
food? You remember my food?
I remember you always like when I came over in Vasco, and like when we would just like be over there, you always made the best meals, like such a good hostess, like on point, like the best food, just like so organized. Everything is just like perfect.
Nice that you remember that, because I don't remember.
That's how I remember it, girl.
Oh, Bosco, if you're listening too.
I know I miss him.
Yeah, another Juilliard friend.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, this was a fun little episode with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. I had so much fun chatting, and hope we get to do it again and see each other in person soon. And
from your mouth,
may we all stay healthy and healthy throughout this time period. May it end soon. I feel like with the vaccine, we may be closer to the ending than we think.
Well, we'll get the vaccine for those of us who want to take it. I for sure am jumping on it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But so stay well.
Yes.
Keep creating. Keep making people happy.
You too. Let's do a song together.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Come on the show once we have our song, and we'll
do a little recap. We'll share the song. I love it.
6 months forward, or however many months.
Done.
Cool. Decided. All right. Have a great night.
You too. Send my love to the family. So good to see you.
So much. And
Thank you for having me.
To your mom and your dad and your brother, and hugs to
yes, please. To Yoni, the kids, give big hugs from us too.
You will. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Talya. Tune in with Talya, and I'll see you guys.
Thanks, Tals.
You guys
take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.